I know, I don't have Christine.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Do we? Let me see, maybe.
Yes, he's the attorney that will be in the closed session with us.
All right, John, ready when you are.
Okay, it's 1 o'clock. I'm going to call the August 5th Board of Commission meeting to order. Today, we're going to have the prayer by Commissioner Heberlein, followed by the pledge by Commissioner Ehart.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful day, Lord. We thank you for the weather we've had for our farmers. Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to live in a free country and for those that have served to make this a free country and for the opportunity to come and to have our county meetings. We ask, Lord, as we go through our BOC meetings and our finance meetings today, Lord, we just pray that you would guide and direct every thought and every move and every decision we make. We ask this in your name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Leslie, roll call, please.
District 1 Chairman John Block,
Present.
District 2 Commissioner Roger Ballard,
Here.
District 3 Commissioner Gary Heberlein, District 4 Commissioner Bill Sarkella is absent, District 5 Commissioner Christine Lee is absent, District 6 Commissioner Evans Ehart,
Here.
District 7 Commissioner John Moody.
Here.
And then we do have a quorum.
Thank you, Leslie.
You're welcome.
If there are no additions or deletions to today's agenda, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
On my motion.
Support. I have a motion from Commissioner Ehart, support from Commissioner Heberlein to adopt our agenda as presented. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. If there are no corrections to our July 15th meeting minutes, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Ballard, support from Commissioner Moody to approve our meeting minutes from July 15th. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. You would have received your correspondence from Jody through email the other day. So we're going to move into commissioner reports and we'll start with Commissioner Moody.
July 17th, I had Fremont Township. They're still looking at trying to find somebody to look at their roof, to maybe do some patchwork or redo the whole roof in its entirety. They had a blight issue on Todd Road that was cleaned up and issued a new permit. On the 24th, I had Work Township. They adopted their budget, went over new salaries for employees, and tabled a lawnmower and trailer quote. And then last night I had Melvin, the village of Melvin. They updated the board on some issues with the cleaning of the hall. They went over some information on condemning a building inside their village. Trying to get the county or whoever does the road striping to do inside of the village, and their next master plan date is workshop is on the 4th of September. That's it.
Okay, thank you, John. Evans?
Nothing to report.
Okay. Last week I assisted Austin Township with a zoning issue related to gravel mining. That's all I have. Gary?
Last night I attended the Sandusky City Council meeting. In that meeting, they had their yearly audit report presented. They're in good shape, the city of Sandusky. I gave my monthly report, BOC report. And then tonight I got Watertown Township meeting, and tomorrow night, Watertown Township meeting. End of my report.
Okay, thank you, Gary. Roger?
Last night, I started out the evening in the city of Marlette. They approved a pool rental resolution, which will change the rules to include with the rental of the pool, one pavilion in that. They also approved the purchase of meter reading equipment. They approved some purchasing policy changes and some other numerous internal control forms. Their new city manager is kind of taking the bull by the horns, doing a real good job so far. They approved their San Luis County News as publication of record. They approved the Comcast franchise agreement. They approved the installation of a 8-inch water shutoff, which was part of the Duff Drain project. Apparently they couldn't isolate that end of the neighborhood there, so that was gonna cause some issues. So they approved that. I believe it was gonna be about an $8,000 expense. That project is on schedule. They approved applying for a Michigan grant, which is for ADA compliance. They want to do some renovations on the lobby at the city hall. Currently, they don't even have an automatic door opener. They've got some elevation issues with sidewalks and curbing and whatnot, so hopefully they will be successful in that grant. At the park, the splash pad is back in operation. That has been inoperable for several years. They expect the dog park to be completed in early September. The former Teen Ranch building, which Aspire Health Systems owns, has been approved for demo. I haven't heard what their plans are for that property. And Fall Family Fun Day is September 20th in Marlette. A lot of great events for kids there, and it's pretty much all free. I had to leave that meeting early. I did miss discussion on a zoning change, the potential for that in regards to marijuana. So I sent an email to the mayor and I hadn't heard back yet on what they decided. So I left there and traveled up to Argyle for their meeting. They changed their dates to the second Tuesday of the month now. So that's kind of good. It frees up by end of the week, every week. The zoning administrator, Sue Janowak, reported 10 blight violation letters have been sent out. Some are first time, some are repeats, some are final letters. They have quite an issue with blight, as do a lot of townships. And she also submitted her letter of resignation. Life changes are forcing her to give up that position. They had quite a long discussion on road brining. They had one resident there that wasn't real happy with was it Weaver Road. I guess there are commercial enterprises that have gone in and really increased traffic and therefore dust. So they are going to double brine that section of road 2 miles. The Argyle Festival is August 23rd, and that starts with a pancake breakfast at the fire hall in the morning. And that's it for that.
Okay, thank you, Roger. Appreciate everyone's commissioner reports. Nathan?
Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me very much. I forgot Lamont. On July 21st, I was up Lamont Township. They approved fire department purchase of 2 air supply tanks for tank recharging. They approved the San Luis County News as their publication of record. And the township supervisor reported that they went camping at Evergreen, first time in years. Took the grandkids, and there were plenty of activities and too many mosquitoes. That's it.
Battery now.
Thank you, Roger.
Yep.
And Nathan, your administrator report, please.
Yes, very interesting to hear all the townships approving the newspaper record as we have today on our finance agenda, the similar thing. So we're all in the same cycle here with renewing newspaper record, and the county news is kind of the newspaper in the area that everybody seems to utilize for that. So, but that's for finance. I emailed everybody the title closing on the animal control building did take place. We got that signed. The deeds office did file the deeds, so everything's in order with that in regards to that. The animal control is still moving along well. People are pretty impressed with the progress that's being made down there. I know some of you guys have been there, but it just continues to kind of move along well. So I think hopefully late fall, sometime before the end of the year, I think we'll be very close to being in there, if not in there. There was a tornado situation, not a situation, a tornado that took place in Deckerville. I know that was very close to Commissioner Block's residents there.
Exactly a mile south of my, exactly a mile south of my house.
Yeah. And the amazing part about that was to see something like that and the damage that it can do in one area, and then it just kind of lifts up and moves. I mean, we just don't see a ton of tornado activity in this area, but to go firsthand and see kind of the damage that it had done. I think a positive response by the residents. I think we're fortunate in this area that family, friends, people willing to pitch in and help and clean up and do things. And Greg Holman, our emergency manager, was on top of things. The following day, he actually invited me out. He had the National Weather Service, a staff member from the National Weather Service that came out, kind of surveyed things, helped them in their trying to interpret the level of the tornado. So that was a kind of an interesting thing to be a part of. And I think everything went very well with that though. And Greg, like I said, was on top of things and did a good job with that. I had a meeting with Wilkie a couple weeks ago. There is some discussion again, which at some point will come before you guys in regards to the opioid funding. We haven't spent any of our opioid dollars that have come in. We've been holding on to that until we find not only a good use of those funds, but they're restricted for what they can be used for. So we've kind of waited. And some ideas were bounced back and forth. So as we get closer, don't be surprised if I say closer, maybe towards the end of the year, where something might come as a proposal to begin to utilize some of those dollars, but they're very restricted for opioid or substance abuse related activities. So that would be what those dollars would entail use for.
We have a program that assists like inmates or something when they're coming out of jail that maybe had substance abuse issues. Could the funding be used for something like that?
It could, and actually that was one of the discussions we had about some funding. Currently we received some funding through the TORC group through the thumb area that helps fund that program over at the jail that assists people while they're there in their recovery and also as they leave the jail. Some continuing support or linking them up with supports, and that may be something that some of the dollars through TORC may diminish over time, and we might have to look at utilizing some opioid dollars. But that program is positive for the jail. It also helps with the courts, so it touches a lot of entities within the county and helps the public as well. So we're dealing with the issues. And last thing. Christy and myself and Gail McConaughey in my office met with the MCF. There's some discussion about the medical care facility and their aspirations to take over their payroll. So we've begun meeting and talking about what that would look like, and maybe that being a transition that they would like to make at the end of the year or the beginning of 2026. So that could be something that takes place. We just have some logistics to work out, but I think we knocked out a good portion of the discussion with them. So
Where are they at in the process of their own EIN number? Are they still pursuing that?
that's on hold, I would say.
It is.
For right now. I think the timeliness of that is tricky, and I think they want to get some things worked out with some other things first, and some of the ERTC credit stuff, which that's another thing. I did get a letter in regards yesterday in regards to the ERTC credits from the Social Security office, and they said that they had approved, everything has been approved, and that they received the signed documents and that they plan to move forward with the settlement on that. So again, hopefully something that we see come to do in the next month to 6 weeks.
That'd be positive for the medical care facility for sure.
Yeah. That's all I have.
Okay, any questions for Nathan?
Get Nathan on the opiate fund. Has community mental health been included in the meeting department?
Yes.
So we don't end up with programs mirroring programs and.
Yeah, and I guess I'll say this, Roger, and I think a couple of the commissioners were in. I had an initial meeting and it involved CMH, the health department, the sheriff, the prosecutor, the judges, and I think a couple of the commissioners were there. At that time, there wasn't a big push for anybody in ways to kind of utilize that funding. And then Bryant just kind of followed up with me on it, but we did talk about the services that we were looking at funding there and how it would affect CMH, and I don't think it would have any adverse effect on them based on what they're currently providing, so. All right.
Any further questions for Nathan? Hearing none, Nathan, thank you for your administrator report. We are going to move on to public comments pertaining to the agenda. Are there any public comments pertaining to the agenda today? Okay, seeing none, we are going to move on. We're going to move into presentations, and starting out, we have our very own county clerk, Leslie, here to give us her annual report. Drum roll.
There's a bit of a lag on my presentation, so if I get going too fast, let me know. Can you see that, Jen? What do I get for coming down here early and playing around?
Nathan, if they say what that tornado was, F1, F2,
So,
I think it was 0, wasn't it? A tornado.
F1.
Oh, 1.
Good to find it. And EF1, they call
I
it.
was sitting in my living room watching TV. My phone rings, it's Greg home, and he's like, "Hey, tornado just went miles south of your house." I'm like, "Oh, would never know." I mean, it's just, it wasn't windy, it was just raining. It didn't even look.
That was one storm. A lot of places got rain. We didn't get a drop.
Oh, really?
We didn't get a drop. So we haven't had rain since before that.
Oh, I bet, yeah,
Okay.
it's dry in my place.
Okay, so I'm Leslie Hilgendorf, your county clerk. So thank you for having me here today for this. I haven't given a report since I've been in office, and I was looking back, and I don't think that the previous county clerk has given a report in quite some time. So I'm going to kind of broaden this report beyond 2024. I'm going to home in at some point on 2024, but we're going to go over quite a little bit. First and foremost, this is the functions and the duties of the county clerk's office. We are one of the busiest and most diverse offices in the building. We are governed by approximately 600 statutes, which fall into these 4 categories. That's the clerk of the Board of Commissioners, which I'm providing my duties today. Clerk of the Circuit Court and Family Division, the Register of Vital Records, and the Chief Election Official. And I'll go into these in the next few slides. So first, the Board of Commissioners. I am appointed as the clerk of the Board of Commissioners to retain the official minutes of each regular scheduled meeting, any special meetings, and then any executive session meeting, which would be our closed session meetings that we have within our regular scheduled meetings. I do maintain the minutes in paper format, digital format, and I upload them onto our website. Next up is the clerk of the Circuit Court and Family Division. This is probably keeps us always busy. We are responsible for the filings and maintenance of all the Circuit Court files. We digitize those, and they are in paper format. So we have as you can see in this picture, that is a quick picture of some of our files. Very minimal. We have 3 levels of files. All 3. We have 2 in the second floor that kind of comes down to the first floor, and then there's 1 down here. So if you've never seen our vault, I would love you to come take a look. We are required statutorily to attend every session of Circuit Court. So I have 3 court clerks that attend on my behalf. Those court clerks are required to know all case types. So that includes felony criminal cases and capital cases. So your murder, your criminal sexual conduct, the WI-3, right on down to those. We handle all of the domestic relation cases. That's your divorces with and without children, support, custody, paternity. All of the civil actions, $25,000 or over. So that would be your property disputes, your insurance claims, things like that. Personal protection orders are filed in my office. Those are not to be confused though with a restraining order. A lot of times people will come and they misunderstand what the difference is between a PPO, personal protection order, and a restraining order. A restraining order is what a judge would order within an established case. Personal protection orders are meant for imminent danger, whether it's a domestic relationship or just a neighbor that might be stalking you. And there are no filing fee for those. We handle name changes, appeals, both coming from district court. So if somebody doesn't like their ruling in certain situations in district court, those are going to be appealed to circuit court. And then we handle the appeals that go out to the Court of Appeals. So for example, in a criminal case, if a defendant didn't like their sentencing, they could appeal that to the circuit court. So we handle that and we get that case filed out and manage it until it gets back. Juvenile cases. So we do not maintain those files. Those files are maintained in the juvenile office. However, court clerks do record all those hearings and we maintain their exhibits, whatever exhibits they may have in their files. Administrations of the jury. So we handle the jury panels for both circuit and juvenile. So if juvenile does have a trial, we would maintain and manage all of those jurors for them. We do have a jury credit card disbursement plan. So every juror that shows up for jury duty gets a credit card that day. And we maintain making sure that those credit cards are loaded for the jurors once their term is up. And then the court clerks are responsible for monthly statements to the state, whether it's Michigan State Police or just the state in general. They have to send abstracts on driving offense cases so that the Secretary of State knows this person had a driving offense. So that's a little snapshot of what we do for the circuit court and the family division. If this works out okay, I'm going to show you a quick, I want to kind of showcase our website and what we do, what we can do on the website for our community and for you commissioners to also check out what we have on there. So the next slide should play that, and I'm going to give some commentary here. So first and foremost, you're going to go to salentcounty.gov. You're going to find your way to the courts and law section, circuit court. Then you're going to scroll down a little bit and you're going to go to the case search here. That'll take you out to the My Court file where you can search a name, you can search a case number if you have it. You're going to wait for that to be populated. So here we have a couple cases. You can click on the case ID there and it'll bring up the registered action. That is everything that's happened in this case, dates coming up. You see that little credit card down there at the bottom. If you click on that credit card, that person can make a payment. So if they have fines and costs, it makes it so easy for them to do that. They don't have to come in the office if they don't want to. And then you can see that it's pre-populated to pay fines and costs in this case. So it's a great tool for people to know that's out there to do case search, even if it's just a divorce, to see kind of where you're at in your divorce. You know, is there any hearing dates coming up, etc. So next up is the review of some court activity here. Again, like I said, it's been a while since we've been in front of you, so I went all the way back to 2019, and I'm giving you a broad span of some numbers here. For the most part, our numbers have remained steady. As you can see in divorces there, And you got the DOs and the DMs. There was probably a slight decrease during COVID, but then things have kind of settled. Or, you can see a little increase there, but everything has settled down. Actually, it's the decline in the divorces, I'm sorry. So we've seen a decline in divorces. However, the personal protection orders have gone up significantly since COVID. So you can see personal protection orders have been sitting here and then they jumped and they've maintained that since COVID. All other civil cases, those have also gone up a little bit since COVID. That again would be our property disputes, insurance claims, things like that. Moving on down, abuse neglect cases are, we're kind of happy to see those have been declining since COVID. However, the delinquencies have gone up a bit, but they're starting to settle. For the most part, the rest of these are all pretty much staying in the same little window, nothing. And when I'm talking about other domestic relations cases here, that again would be your support, custody, and paternity. So those are maintained. And then a nice little bar chart for you to kind of see where we've been. Obviously, numbers were down during COVID year for probably obvious reasons, and then they jumped in 2021. That could be a couple different things coming out of COVID, or two, we had a new judge on the bench. So a couple of those things could take place there, or could be why that's trending that way. And then you can see we're just trending back down to normal in 2024.
Leslie,
Yeah,
that graph and the graph you just had up there, you touched on the four things in the previous graph.
yeah.
Is that due to COVID or is that to a judge? Because I see in 21, 22, 23, they spiked. Now they're back down.
I think COVID played a big part in the spike of 2021,
Mhm.
but it also was a brand new judge on the bench too. So really both of those could play in,
Okay.
but you could see how they're trending. We're kind of trending back down.
Yeah,
to
real nice.
normal. Yeah, our normal range there.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No.
Leslie would
Yeah.
say also, with having a new prosecutor too, you got a new judge, now you got a new prosecutor.
Prosecutor came in.
Yeah, well, as you see, maybe this,
Yeah.
well,
There's a lot that
change
could
that.
play into these numbers, sure. But I do believe that the spike in 21 was people, just coming out from COVID. Yeah. All right, so moving on to our other function of the office, register of the vital records. We maintain and record all vital statistics occurring in San Juan County. So it's important to note that we only have on file birth, death records that took place in the county. So we maintain all of those. We have all of the military discharges. So any veteran with a DD 214 can file that with us. You do not have to reside here. You can live anywhere. If you have family that you think might be doing research someday and you just want your DD 214 to be on file with us, you certainly can do that. Then we have assumed names and co-partnerships. Those are our DBAs, or doing business as. It just protects a business name. And a lot of times it's required by banks. And then, of course, our concealed pistol licenses. We do new applications and renewals. Only the new applications require fingerprints, not the renewals. We see quite a bit of the renewals done online, more so than at the counter. Then our oaths of office. So all of the oaths of office for the county officials, including you, prosecutor, judges, myself, are all on file in the office with us. All of the deputy clerks that work in the courts are all on file, and the schools and the sheriff appointments are filed with us. And then we do some veteran ID cards. I would like to see more activity on this. I don't think enough veterans know that we do or that we have this service, so a veteran can come in, we'll take their picture, and we have a nice Sanilac County veteran ID card that we hand out. There is a $10 fee for that, but it is a nice thing that we have for them. And then passport photos, those are also $10. But the nice thing about our passport photos is they can come see us, get their passport photo done, and then go right next door to the Registry of Deeds to apply. It's a one-stop shop. And then genealogy, the first Wednesday of every month, we allow citizens to come in and view records in our vault. So someone that's wishing to do genealogy, there are some things that are off limits that are still closed and not open records. So we make sure that that's understood. But the first Wednesday of every month, if anybody wanted to call and make an appointment for that. All right, and then just a review on some numbers of our vital records. As far as births go, we no longer have a birthing unit in Sanilac County. So really all we see are our occasional at-home births, emergency births, and then obviously our Amish community. We have quite an Amish community that files birth records with us.
Yeah.
Really not a whole lot to see here as far as numbers. They've stayed the same. It's kind of stayed close in range anyway. Voter registrations obviously tend to be a little higher during and before, slightly before a presidential election. So if you're jumping down to those, you'll see that how that fluctuates in the presidential election years. And then CPLs, we seem to have a bit of an uptick after COVID there. That's trending back down. Jury, you're going to see quite an increase there. We have about a 30% return rate on our summonses. So it's not great. It's something that us in the court are working on. But at a 30% return rate, we're having to send out more summonses to get the amount of jurors that we need to see through a trial. Let's see. As you can see, my veterans ID cards is down pretty low. I think that service needs to be just advertised a little bit for them. And then just looking at our statutory meetings, you have your statutory meetings for the Board of Commissioners that has stayed the same. The jury board, you're going to see a decrease there in 2021. And the reason for that is because that is when we went to a one-step jury system. So we no longer have the board coming in to manage our jury. We manage it in-house or at the clerk's office. So they are only statutorily required to meet once a year in May. So that's why you see that decrease. And then the election commission increase, there you see that it jumped to 10 in 2023. We had to meet 10 times that year because we had several recalls throughout the county. So that was the need for those. And then the canvassers. They obviously only meet when we have elections. And so that's why that number stays pretty close there. All right, moving on to the chief election official. So I am the chief election official of the county. So that means that we accept candidate filings for the county and the school board members. We do both of those filings, and then it is up to the local clerks to gather the candidate filings and millage language for themselves. And then when they have that complete, they pass it on to us. So we're in charge of ordering the ballots, tabulation of the election results at night. Sometimes we're here until 8 o'clock in the morning, but that's what we're doing, is tabulating those election results. Then the post-election audits as selected by the state. So the state will randomly select 3 people. So our county size is 3 townships or cities. So 3 jurisdictions get selected, and then we have to go out and do a post-election audit on those 3. And then we maintain all the local and county campaign finance records. And then every other July, I am charged with the duty of training all of our election inspectors.
So it can be up to 300+ people that, and I usually set aside 4 days with 3 different time slots, and we get all those election inspectors trained. So moving on to election services that are not statutorily required that my office takes care of, and that is the programming and the coding of voting equipment. So I'm going to learn to code, however, programming, it has been done since, you know, I've been here. So programming means I am programming all of the machines in the county. Whether it's an ADA machine or our tabulators, that certainly could be outsourced, but I choose to do it myself as a cost savings to the county. And then we coordinate all the test decks, so it's required by election law that all of our machines are tested. And so we have to order test decks to test these machines. So it is our responsibility to get those test decks ordered. I'm the coordinator of all 7 of our schools. It is just easier that way than picking one jurisdiction to oversee each school. All of our schools are made up of multiple jurisdictions. So I gladly coordinate for all 7 as far as that goes. We do accept the school board filings, so anybody that is wishing to file to be on a school board would file with us when the time comes. We print the master and voter ID card, so if you move and you change jurisdictions, you're going to get a new voter ID card telling you where your new precinct is. Those come from us. Not all jurisdictions choose to allow us to print. I think there's only a couple. City of Croswell is one. It can be costly for them to set that up. They have to have a printer. They have to buy the MasterCards. They have to buy the voter ID cards. So we offer that fee or that service for a nominal fee. And then quite frankly, some clerks just don't have full access to do some of this. And then we post amendments requested by the local clerks to the QBF or the qualified voter file. And so that, again, that's just a person has moved or a street index has changed. And same thing here, a lot of those clerks don't have that access, and so we do that for them. And then we prepare the consolidated election ads. So that means the notice of registration that goes out, the notice of public accuracy, and the notice of election. And we were all just talking about signing up with our newspaper. So I coordinate that. I create all of the ads, and then I put them in the ad or the papers of each jurisdiction, whatever they choose. All right, so other statutory appointments would be the, so I am the clerk to the Board of Canvassers, and I'm responsible for attending all of their meetings to review, audit, and certify their results and keep their minutes. The Board of Canvassers are made up of 4 individuals, 2 from each major party, so Republican and Democrat. And then the Election Commission is made up of myself, the probate judge, Judge Ross, and then our county treasurer, Bauer. So that makes up the Election Commission. We meet to, prior to every election, to order ballots and then any clarity hearings that we may have for recall, wording, and such. The remonumentation program is administered through my office. So that act, the State Survey and Remonumentation Act was enacted to create the State Survey Remonumentation Fund. So that program monumentates and remonumentates the property controlling corners. So as the administrator of that program, I am responsible for overseeing all of the obligations within the program and then any money associated with the act. And then our county surveyor, John Melitix, oversees all the projects approved by the act. And then this screen just kind of goes over how do we get the funding for the remonumentation. It is funded through all the documents that are recorded with our register of deeds. And you can see the formula there. I'm not gonna go through that. That's more for our manual gurus, but we are still in the remonumentation phase. So we receive a minimum of 40% of those recording fees. And then when you add category 1 and category 2 up, both of these equations, that equals our grant amount that we receive. Salem County is now at 54% completion since the establishment of this program in 1993. So it's a snail's pace of getting this program, seeing us to completion. It is something that John and I have talked to legislators about, our legislatures about just redoing this formula a little bit, because you can see the 20% maintenance phase. Our bigger counties like Okanaway, Macomb, they have been in maintenance for years. They've been done with this program for years, and something needs to be done to just kind of adjust this formula. All right, so going on to some of the online services that we offer, application to order your birth certificate. There's no need to come in unless you absolutely have to. You can order death certificates, marriage certificates, even your divorce judgment. We've seen a lot of divorce judgments lately because of the requirement for our driver's licenses to be enhanced. So the state is requesting a lot of this stuff for individuals to meet those requirements. You can, like I showed you earlier, you can pay fines and costs on your criminal cases. And then we have the online renewal of the CPLs, the concealed pistol licenses. The applicant receives a letter prior to their renewal time, and they get a PIN number. They can go right online, they can do it. And we just received that they've renewed. And as long as Michigan State Police approves, then they get their renewal. And then MSP, Michigan State Police, does cut us a monthly check for our services there. I was going to show an example of how to order a birth record here, but I don't know if it's going to show up. Let's see. There it goes. So in order to order a birth record, you would find your way to departments and then county clerk's office. Request your birth record. And as you can see there was a lot of options for things you could do. If you're the individual who is the subject of the birth record, you're just going to select here. If not, you can be a parent, a legal guardian, an heir. If a birth record is 110 years old or older, it becomes public record, so you don't have to provide any ID. So you just fill this out accordingly, just as it says. Tell us how many copies you want, some contact information for yourself in case we run into any issues. We're going to ask you to upload a copy of your driver's license, and then you go down and you just submit it. So you can see here that if you wanted 2 copies, it's going to cost you $30, $20 for the original or the first, and $10 for the second. The upload of additional documents here would be if, let's say, you're a legal representative or a legal guardian, we would need proof of that in order to give you the birth record. So I just wanted to do a quick little tutorial of that. Yeah, the slideshow. There. Okay, next slide. And then just a little bit more about the county website. So my office does make many adjustments to the county website. If an appointment is made after an election, we change all of the jurisdictions' names, whoever's been elected, we make those adjustments. If, I guess you just said today, Roger, that Argyle changed their meeting times to, did you say the second? Second Monday, so we would make that change on Argyle's section of the website. And the municipalities should contact us to let us know that, you know, we don't just know that they do it unless a commissioner comes in and tells, you
I
know.
think they did.
Did they?
Yeah.
Okay, so then
Through
maybe
me.
oh, through you, okay. Let's say then maybe we've already made the change. The other thing is not every municipality, things may look different, so I'm gonna use Flynn Township as an example here. They have a pretty nice website, so instead of us giving, or changing all that information for them, as you can see here. So if you go to the list of municipalities, Flynn, it actually kicks out to their website. So they have a really nice website. It's very informative, so we just find it more beneficial to just push out to their website. You can see here where, I'll just use Evergreen as an example. They don't have a website, so we do maintain the information for them. So that. All right. So now I'm gonna home in on 2024 a little bit. These are the next last few slides. So the county clerk's office receipted in $659,823.35. Of that, dispersed was $208,336.55 into the general fund, $9,000 to the funded court, $31,905 to the non-general fund funds, $42,556.94 to the juvenile fund, and $368,024.86 dispersed as mandated by statute or court order. And I'll go into these just a little bit in the next slide. So I know this is hard, a little hard to read, but if you have questions, certainly reach out. Can you read that all right from there? Okay. All right. So again, I'm not going to go through all of these one by one. You can kind of see the fluctuation here and there. Our photos. Appeals. You're going to see a decrease on the appointed attorneys as the years go on because we have implemented the indigent defense. So I guess Rob Heibler would be a little bit better person to talk about that, but that's why you're seeing that decrease there. Court costs, like I said earlier, the circuit court is a great portion of what we do in our daily duties. So that's why we see it. That high number, and then certified copies midway down there. That is a large part of our revenue. That's why it's important that copies only come from the clerk's office, you know, and not passed out from other offices that do have access, because it is a good portion of the revenue. Let's see, anything else that's kind of a trend here. Our searches, you're going to see a decrease there. That is because of a law change regarding personal identifying information, or what we call PII. So the law changed where we can no longer provide birth dates, driver's license numbers, etc. You have to be on a state list in order to get some of that information. So that's why the searches, you're seeing that decrease there. And then let's see what else. Any questions in here as far as anything that's popping out at you? Election materials and coding, you can see presidential. The years we have an election, it's quite high. I think I've come to you commissioners before talking about the coding and the needing for us to code here as a cost savings. The reimbursement, we do get reimbursed some of that coding from the jurisdictions, but you can see out of 128,000, we're getting about 66,000 back. And then we do get reimbursed by the state for the presidential elections only. So that's why you only see 2020 and 2024 there. All right, and then as far as, oops. Again, here, just regular fluctuation in the front of the court. Marriage licenses. This, we capture $15 and $5 is paid out to the state. For every CPL application, we capture $41. The state captures 74. You're probably gonna start to see a decrease in the ADR fees. I believe, it's my understanding that Judge Raffle is no longer doing mediations. Or ADR stands for Alternative Dispute Resolution. It's just a way to help settle civil cases, and it's a panel of 3 attorneys. And so I think you're slowly gonna see that number decrease. And then let's see. Bonds payable, I just wanted to point out down here towards the bottom, you see a huge increase in 2020. $738,255. That is because we had a couple of cases that they were criminal cases and the defendant received a considerably high bond. So that's what you see there. And then juvenile, you're gonna expect to see that decrease here too because of the law change where the court can no longer assess and we can no longer collect. So in 2025, you're likely going to see a decrease there. But for the most part, the numbers have maintained. And that's about any questions in any of that. And then a quick organizational chart, who's who when you walk into the clerk's office. So obviously you got me there, the county clerk. You've got Lori Cowley, who is my chief deputy. She oversees the election with me, jury and UPL. So she handles all of that. And then our court division, the 3 court clerks would be Dawn Fleming, Jennifer Loss, and Emily Lindbergh. And then our vital records clerk, we have Heidi Fetting, who works the first part of the day down in construction and land use, and she issues building permits the first half of the day, and then she joins us for the last half of the day to issue vital records. And then Amy Robotham, who also issues vital records, and then she does court finances. So whether that's juvenile court or circuit court, she handles both of those. So any questions?
Any questions for Leslie? Excellent report, Leslie.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Looks like you got lots to do.
We do. We stay pretty busy. All right, well, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, while we're in presentations, we have one more today, and that's the 2024 audit report by Greg Soul from AHP. Greg, welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be with you this afternoon. My name is Greg Soul. I'm the partner in charge of the county's audit. This is AHP's 3rd year performing the county's audit. Before you this afternoon is a summary presentation of our audit results and some of the highlights and facts and figures from the county's financial statements. I want to start out by providing a little bit of context. The county's financial statements are close to 120 pages long. So when you look at all the different types of activities and funds and component units and all the different sorts of things involved in, there's a significant amount of detail. I want to thank Christy and Nathan's office for pulling together everything. It's really quite a heavy lift in terms of all the different types of information that we request, that we go through, and working with the different departments and all units here at the county. So as part of our audit, we issued several documents. We issued the audited financial statements and our report thereon, a formal communication letter with the Board of Commissioners. There was also a single audit for the county's federal expenditures and the state filings associated with providing those documents to Michigan Department of Treasury. Our opinion on the financial statements contained an unmodified or a clean opinion. That means that based on our procedures, the numbers represent the underlying activity for the county. And that's separated out into governmental activities, sort of the day-to-day operations of the county,
business type activities, collections of taxes and disbursement and some of the other component units there. Each major fund and the aggregate remaining fund information for the county all had unmodified or clean opinions. Several component units were separately audited by other auditors, and that's the Road Commission and the CMH, Committee Mental Health Authority. Previously, Sand Lake Transportation Corporation was also audited separately, but AHP performed that audit this year for Sand Lake Transportation. Our opinion also identifies management's responsibilities for processing transactions, for preparing the financial statements, for pulling all the information together. And it identifies our responsibilities as the county's auditors in performing the audit and assessing risks and performing our testing and looking at overall financial statement presentation. And that opinion also addresses required information such as management's discussion and analysis, and the summary financial information at the back of the audited financials. Our board report contained all of our required communications to the Board of Commissioners. All those communications are in the affirmative. We didn't have any significant difficulties performing the audit. There were no material weaknesses that we identified. There were several proposed reclassifying journal entries, sort of part of the normal process of going through an audit, nothing concerning there. Our report also identified what we consider significant audit risks, areas that are maybe a little bit more sensitive that require some additional audit effort. We audited each of those areas in accordance with our standards and didn't identify anything that was required to be reported to the board. So no issues there. That's good. There's also some information around significant estimates and disclosures, things like pension and OPEB dollars and how those are significant estimates. And there's a lot of factors that go into calculating those estimates. We look at the process of developing the estimates and some of those key factors that feed into that, as well as the underlying data used, and didn't identify any issues there. The document also contains a report on internal controls under government auditing standards, and that was a clean report, no material weaknesses that we identified. Some highlights this year, we implemented, or the county implemented GASB 101 related to considering compensated absences or accrued vacation and sick for county employees. There was some cleanup with the medical care facility debt transfer and health department receivables that led to a restatement this year. So some cleanup there, nothing too unexpected. And we were in communication with administration throughout that process. And there were some changes to major funds. The ARPA fund moved to non-major as those dollars and activity continue to wind down. And the drug task force moved to a major fund this year. Our single audit report for federal expenditures did not contain any single audit findings, so no issues there with federal expenditure side. Some key statistics for the financials had a total net position for governmental and business type activities of 26.9 million. Governmental activities for the county, again, this is full accrual, had 16.5 million, and business type activities had a net position of 10.4 million. And net position is essentially assets minus liabilities. So the total net position of the county. The component unit net position was 78.3 million. The biggest one of those is the Road Commission. And then there was an increase in that position for the county overall of 8.6 million. Governmental activities had an increase of 6.4 million, and the business type activities had an increase of 2.2 million. The general fund had a fund balance ending 2024 of 7.9 million. 7.5 million of that general fund balance was unassigned. Approximately 40% of expenditures and transfers out for a given year. So pretty good measure of health of the general fund in the county as a whole there. There was an increase in the general fund balance of 3.3 million. The general fund had total revenues of 16.8 million and total expenditures of 12.5 million. And there was a net other financing sources or uses, essentially a net of transfers and transfers out of the general fund of a minus 1 million this year. Looking ahead, there's a couple accounting standards that will affect the county coming up. GASB 102, not going to have a big effect. There's some additional risk disclosures around concentrations and constraints. Not really going to affect the county too much, but GASB 103 will have a bigger effect. Some additional disclosures and additional information to be reported in the financial statements, budget to actual, management's discussion and analysis, some additional information that the standard setters want to see from the county's financial statements. That wraps up my summary report of the audit. I'm happy to see any questions.
Questions are great.
The net other financing, uses. What is that again?
Yeah, so each fund may have transfers in and transfers out. If the general fund performs services for a different fund, that fund may transfer into the general fund. And the general fund may collect dollars or perform services for other funds and transfer those dollars out. So that's the net of that. There was a net transfer out of 1 million.
Okay.
Any further questions for Greg? Seeing none, we appreciate you being here today.
Okay, thank you, everyone, and we appreciate the relationship with the county and the opportunity to continue to serve.
Very good. Thank you. That's going to conclude presentations today. We are going to move on. We have no need for 13A or 13B or 14 as there are no appointments to make today. We're going to move directly into general resolutions. The first one being a resolution for deficit elimination plan. This is related to friend of the court. I'll read the first one. Whereas Sand Lake County's friend of the court fund showed $57,410.93 deficit fund balance on December 31st, 2024. And whereas 1971 PA 140 requires that a deficit elimination plan be formulated by the local unit of government and filed with the Department of Treasury. Now therefore it be resolved that the Sand Lake County Board of Commissioners adopts the following as the deficit elimination plan for the county of Sand Lake friend of the court. There was a deficit that existed at the year end of 2024 for the friend of the court. Friend of the court, a non-general fund budget is a difficult department when budgeting because it is on a fiscal year rather than a calendar year like the county operates. There is also a 2/3 reimbursement received for many of their staffing and operating expenditures, but there are often delays in getting those monthly reimbursements from the state of Michigan. In 2024, the department saw a significant increase in their cost allocation plan expense, and although the county does recoup 2/3 of that back through reimbursement, that reimbursement with the existing revenues were unable to cover the expenditures of that budget. Another thing to note, in previous years, the budget had a fund balance that existed helping to cover increases in costs. But over the years, the fund balance was solely used until it was no longer enough to cover the increase in expenditures that were incurred in 2024. As a result of everything explained above, the county noted the need to increase the general fund transfer of the friend of the court, which we have done for 2025. Please see the budget on the following page showing the 5-year summary of the account. This shows the 2 years prior to the 2024 deficit, which both closed with a positive budget performance. The 2024 year is the issue of where the issue occurred. The 2025 budget year and a projected 2026 projected budget. Be it further resolved that the County Board of Commissioners submits the deficit elimination plan to the Michigan Department of Treasury for certification. A resolution offered. Is there support? Support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there any discussion?
Commissioners, I'd just like to note, I know this one was before, the reason it's back is because just so in case you guys question that the $57,000, we had rolled that into our fund balance on the last one and said, well, the fund balance was enough to cover that moving forward. Well, they didn't want us to account for the fund balance we had. They said, you need to roll that forward and look at within the year, do your revenues and your expenditures, regardless of the fund balance you have, where do your revenues and your expenditures stand? So that's why this one was corrected. And then as we get into the next one for you guys to note as well, the data processing fund also had a fund balance, but they're looking at from year to year, making sure you kind of what you're doing to hone in on trying to stay within your revenues and expenditures year by year.
Okay. So for the deficit elimination plan for the friend of the court, I have it offered and I have support. We've had discussion. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, Leslie, roll call vote, please.
Chairman Block,
Yes.
Vice Chair Ballard,
Yes.
Commissioner Ehart,
Yes.
Commissioner Heberling,
Yes.
and Commissioner Moody.
Yes.
And then Commissioner Sarkella and Lee are absent.
Okay. Resolution is adopted. Thank you, Leslie.
You're welcome.
With that done, we'll move on to the resolution for deficit elimination plan, and this is for the data processing fund.
Already did, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Ehart's gonna.
No, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Yep.
Whereas Sand Lake County's data processing fund showed a $43,305 unrestricted deficit balance on December 31st, 2024. And whereas 1971 PA 140 requires that the deficit elimination plan be formulated by the local unit of government and filed with the Michigan Department of Treasurer. Now therefore be resolved that the Sanilac County Board of Commissioners adopts the following as a deficit elimination plan for the Sanilac County Data Processing Fund. Explanation: the county knew there was a positive balance in the total net position and did not realize that having an unrestricted deficit for the year was an issue when the total net position was positive. Going forward, the county will work to make sure that the funds are analyzed, including the unrestricted deficit lines, to make sure we avoid having unrestricted deficit in any fund at year end. The page following shows the data processing budget with a recent activity. It details the 2024 year with the unrestricted deficit and the 2025 budget year and projected 2026 projected budget. It be further resolved, the Sanilac County Board of Commissioners submits the deficit elimination plan to the Michigan Department of Treasury for certification.
I have a resolution offered from Commissioner Ehart. Is there support? Support from Commissioner Moody. Is there discussion? Hearing none. Leslie, roll call, please.
Commissioner Ehart.
Yes.
Commissioner Moody.
Yes.
Commissioner Ballard.
Yes.
Commissioner Block.
Yes.
And Commissioner Heberly.
Yes.
And as Commissioners Sarkella and Lee are absent.
Resolution is adopted. Thank you, Leslie.
You're welcome.
Okay, that's going to conclude resolutions for today. So we're going to move into committee reports and we'll start with Commissioner Ballard.
Bear with me. Attended CMH board meeting last Tuesday. Their number of people receiving services continues to rise. Children alone are over 370, and they are currently fully staffed. There will be, come September, they are hiring a new psychiatrist. So they will be fully staffed for the first time in years. So that's good. That is, you know, if you watch the news, it's no wonder numbers are going up. The services are definitely needed out there. It's just getting to the people that is, it's a struggle sometimes. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Roger. Roger, when you say like 300 and so many kids, is that Sanilac County kids?
Yes.
That's like exclusively within the county. Okay. Thank you for your report. Gary?
Thank you. This morning, we had our buildings and ground, meeting and, John, if you want to expand that a little bit, more, I'll let some of this up to you and Nathan. We also had a personnel meeting and then, we had an ARPA meeting. And as most of you know, it's been all these meetings. The ARPA funds were divvied out by the government several years ago. And, we, had a committee, myself, Chairman Block, Nathan, and I'm missing one, Christie. And, we think that we've tried to do the best we can, and we surveyed everyone what they thought the money should be spent for. And some of those things went to some very vital things like paying off some debt for the county in different areas. And the committee and the funds are coming to an end, and we were left with a little over $1 million. And so we're going to at some point in time take that money and put that into buildings and grounds, because there's many things that come up over time, emergency things, but we're going to leave it where it is with our county treasurer right now, because we are getting interest on that money. So we'll divvy it out as needs. But as I said in the meeting this morning, I want to thank Nathan and John and our county treasurer and Christie. It was a great team to work with. I think the money that came in from our government was spent wisely. And as I said, we paid off some debts for the county, and not every few years something like that comes along, but it really benefited our government. The last thing I want to cover, and I lost it, let me pull it up here, is this board appointed me to the materials management for the 4 counties here in our thumb area. I just want to update you a little bit what this is about. Some people have no idea what it's about, but this committee was put together based off, and if I can read this, print gets smaller as I get older, but on January 8th, 2024, Department of Environmental Great Lakes and Energy Eagle initiated a new materials management planning process in accordance with the amendments of to Part 115 Solid Waste Management Act. The amendments required the existing county solid waste management plan to be replaced with materials management plan MMP, which I'm part of, that focused on sustainable material management approaches and recycling and composing landfill. And the state's goal to achieve 45% recycle rate in interim step by 2029, 30% recycle rate. The recycle rate focused on ratio of recycled organic materials granted by residents and commercial business. The new MMPs for each county must be consistent with the demonstrate progress towards a meeting. So I'll stop right there because I could read forever. Basically, coming up here in 2026, I believe it's February, every township, every county has to have a plan put together and submit to Eagle by 2030. That plan is going to be looked at by Eagle, implemented. So we sent out a survey after our last meeting last month that's going all of the townships, letting know what's taking place and what their input is. And basically, this is going to be implemented by 2030. But we want to give everyone a chance in our thumb area and the townships and the counties, what this is about, have their input. So I like I say, I could go on forever, but we want to give everybody heads up because I'm sure there's going to be pros and cons. So, oh, we got to have that, but Eagle has implemented us in the state. So we're trying to move forward quickly and efficiently. Thank you.
And your report, Gary?
I think the townships are gonna need to be educated on
Yeah.
what's going on with this.
Yeah.
Argyle received that survey.
Mhm.
They had no idea where it came from.
Yeah, I'm
what it
sure
was
they
about,
did, Roger. I'm sure.
And pretty much blew it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the first I'd seen of it, so I did get a copy of it. I don't have it with me, but pretty simple survey to fill out.
And Roger,
If you can get them to take the time to do it and submit it.
what our thought right now is we're going to try to meet with each township, whether it's me or commissioners or whatever, and get them educated. It's not something we can, because my first thought, and the first thing I said 2 months ago, they brought this up and I said, it's never going to work in a township because you get in a rural township and the first thing they think we throw a garbage out bag, burn it. We don't want to hear about it, So unfortunately, the state has mandated this, so we're going to have to move forward with it. But I agree, Roger. It's going to take some time and some good education.
They, their first comments were, so are we getting a dumpster back out here? And I hear we have to put cameras on them. And I didn't really comment on it because I didn't know what was going on. I figured I'd get back with them. I'm sure there's time yet to get that survey in. So.
And there is going to be funding for that too. It's not going to be put on every township. So there's a lot to be resolved and a lot to be education to go out there. And again, I'll say this again, we're not trying to come and force it and say, you got to do it. And obviously we got to do it, but we want to be as transparent as we can and make it as easy as can,
Well, I'm glad you brought up the survey because that's something I'll talk to my townships about. Because Roger, you're right. I mean, they get that kind of stuff, and if one of us isn't handing it to them and explaining it to them, they don't know what it is, and you won't get good participation on it.
And I somewhat apologize when we put the survey together in the last meeting. I knew it was going out. Nathan, I should have got with you, get you a copy, and from now on, anything like that, I'll make sure get you.
It might be better if there could be a shorter summary of what the program is with just some bullet points regarding funding and whatnot, and resend that survey actually.
Yeah.
And please understand, we're wading through this too.
Right. Yeah, you guys are trying to figure it out.
Brand new.
Okay. Well, let's
Into my report. I know.
Thank you, Gary. So as Gary stated, we had our ARPA wrap-up meeting today. I was going to go through, if anybody wants to see the full list of everything we did with ARPA, it's right here. I'm not going to go through it for the sake of time. And then Nathan was asked today to put something together for the news so that the public can be aware of everything we did with that. Although I think Eric did a decent job of reporting on it throughout the years. So that was ARPA. Buildings and Grounds met and approved doing some major landscaping over at the Health Department building. As everybody knows, we did new siding, windows, really kind of spruced the building up, and then we tore all the trees and everything down. This is kind of the final aspect of that, to put in some new trees. And I will give it to Nick, and putting what we approved today together. They really thought about what kind of trees we're planting long term. Are they going to grow up and dump a bunch of junk on the roof? They picked stuff that's not going to do that. It was a a little bit on the more expensive side, but long-term, it's the way to go. And then the Personnel Committee met also this morning and approved a posting for the IT director position. That's something the board will see come through. And then also a position, a part-time one at 911. That's all I have. Evans?
I had no committees last month. I'll be picking up again in August.
Okay, John?
I had the medical care facility. As of the 28th of July, they were full over there with 82 residents. And they're looking to increase to 88, and they're working on their marketing still. In 2026, they wanted to update the nurses station, some showers inside of the facility, and some new fencing around the building. And they had one of their healthcare workers, Tammy Johnson, was named the 2025 Jerry Baker Hero of Healthcare Award for the state of Michigan.
Wow.
So that was pretty awesome. Had 911 board. We discussed our digital upgrade is still moving forward. Looking at doing some different, getting some different radios are encrypted. Purchasing the MEVO kit, which is actually a portable 911 station, basically. And as John said, they're looking to hire another part-timer. And then I had the Thumb Area Regional Community Corrections Advisory Board last week also. And they put in a request to the state for $53,000 more for this year, and they just found out they received it. So that's a good thing. That's about it.
Okay, thank you, John.
I have
And,
emergency management tomorrow night.
I apologize. One of the things I meant to bring up, and it's important to bring up, is I serve on the Parks Board. We have a meeting tonight, and but I want to say our parks are doing well. And I want to compliment Roger. We had a I don't want to call it a grand opening, a
Ribbon cutting.
Out at Evergreen a couple weeks ago. Roger spoke at that, and as you know, Roger was head of that for some time, and that was to ribbon cutting, which was the new kayak, the gazebo, the new putt-putt golf course out there. So our parks are doing well. People use them and love them, and the group that's been behind us for several years has done a great job, and we want to continue to move forward in that manner.
Manager, of course.
That was brought up today. I don't know if you want to talk about that, Manager at Forster.
Yeah, one of our current employees, from Evergreen Park, decided that he wanted to, take an opportunity to take on the manager position at Forster, and that has gone very well so far. So, they decided that since he was an employee, they could let him try that, see if he found that role suitable to him, and, I've heard positive things so far. So
Okay,
that's been good.
kind of like a trial period almost.
Yeah, for him and for, you know, the parks board to kind of assess things. And I think, like I said, very positive so far.
Good.
He's a good young man and a hard worker, and takes that with a passion. He really does.
All right, very good. I appreciate everyone's committee reports. I see no unfinished business today, so we're going to move directly into new business. And today we're going to start out with, and I guess I'll clarify with Finance Chairman Sarkella not here. Usually he just reads all these. If it's okay with everybody here today, maybe we'll start with Commissioner Ballard and we can kind of go around the table and everybody can share in. So starting out today with FA 015-25, approval of letter of understanding for temporary office manager in the prosecutor's office.
The Sand Lake County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the letter of understanding between temporary employee Paula Messon and the County of Sand Lake to fill the office manager position within the prosecutor's office, not to exceed $27.50 per hour and not to exceed 30 hours per week for no more than 999 hours, and to further authorize the board chairman to sign the letter of understanding. Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Ballard, support from Commissioner Ehart. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 110-25, approval of current claims.
The Sand Lake County Board of Commissioners hereby approves a payment of current claims identified in accounts payable report dated June 29th, 2025 for the general bank account in the amount of $253,644.52.
Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Heberlein, support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 111-25, and I'll read this one, Evans. This is budget adoptions, amendments, appropriations, and transfers. St. Louis County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the following amendments as listed.
Support.
Okay, I have moved for FA 111-25. I have support from Commissioner Ehart. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. We will now move on to FA 112-25, approval of Professional Counseling Center Life Skills Agreement, Department of Health and Human Services.
The St. Louis County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the Professional Counseling Center Life Skills Agreement for a fiscal year 2026 at the cost not to exceed $90,000 with the reimbursement of 75% through the State of Michigan Child Care Fund, and further authorize the Board Chairman to sign the necessary agreement.
Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Ehart, support from Commissioner Moody. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 113-25, authorization of summer intern program, prosecutor's office.
The St. Louis County Board of Commissioners hereby authorize the prosecutor's office to participate in the Prosecuting Attorneys Association of Michigan intern program for the 2026 at the cost not to exceed $10,930 with funding from the prosecutor's budget.
Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Moody, support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 114-25, award and authorization to purchase Main County Care switches.
St. Louis County Board of Commissioners hereby awards and authorizes NetSource One the bid to replace the central dispatch, DTF, and main county core switches totaling 5 Cisco Catalyst 9300 switches, along with the configuration and installation at a cost of $60,099 and $11,975 for the complete installation and configuration, for a total cost not to exceed $72,074, with funding of $25,000 from the 911 millage, $15,102 from the DTF millage, $10,000 from the Register of Deeds, $10,000 from the Treasurer Delinquent Tax Revolving Fund, and $11,972 from the Information Technology Systems, and further to recommend authorizing the continued annual maintenance fee after 3 years for the life of the switches at a cost not to exceed $6,380 per year, with funding from Information Technology Systems.
Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Ballard, support from Commissioner Heberlein. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 115-25, approval of amended 2025 contract for the Save Millage Partnership.
The St. Louis County Board of Commissioners hereby approves amending the St. Louis County Child Abuse Prevention Council Professional Service Agreement by increasing the funding not to exceed $16,000 for the purpose of expanding the reach and the impact of the MBF Child Safety Matters Prevention Program within the St. Louis County Schools, to further recommend approving amending the St. Louis Area Violence Elimination Council Professional Service Agreement by increasing the funding not to exceed $20,065 for the purpose of prevention and educational program for the 2025 and 2026 year, and to authorize the board chairman sign the necessary agreements.
Of course. I have a motion from Commissioner Heberlein, support from Commissioner Moody. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 116-25, authorization of emergency door repair. The St. Louis County Board of Commissioners hereby authorizes the payment not to exceed $6,820 to Escon Group for the immediate approval with funding from Building and Grounds for the purpose of replacing the handicap door entrance at the St. Louis County Health Department.
Support.
I have made a motion. I have support from Commissioner Heberlein. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to NFA 017-25, acceptance of the 2024 annual report from the county clerk's office.
Stanley County Board of Commissioners hereby accepts the 2024 County Clerk's Office Annual Report as presented.
Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Ehart, support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to NFA 018-25, acceptance of the 2024 audit report.
Stanley County Board of Commissioners hereby accepts the 2024 audit report as presented.
I have a motion from Commissioner Moody, support from Commissioner Ehart. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. That's going to conclude new business today. So at this time, I'm going to call for general public comments. Are there any general public comments today? Hello, welcome.
Marilyn Strickler, Speaker Township. I just wanted to let the board know that on July 9th, there was Rev Renewables Wind Turbine Company had a public meeting in Peck at the Harvest Hall. And it was for Speaker Township and Fremont Township. And the next day on the 10th, they were to have Elk Township. So the very next day, I mean, we went there and we talked to a lot of the people that work there. And a lot of them are the same people that worked for Liberty in the past. Well, the very next day, we was up to Bob and Jamie's and in walks Nelson from Rev Renewables, one of the higher ups, and he's with Donnie Johnson from the airport board. And I know there was trouble the last time when Liberty went to the airport board where he accepted an application or variance or something without money. So I just kind of wanted to let you guys know, I didn't think it was a good look for the airport board to be going out for lunch with the guys from Rev. Just wanted to let you know.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Are there any further public comments today? Okay, hearing none, we're going to move on. We are going to go into closed session today, but just for our public here that can't partake in that, I want you to understand there is the possibility of the board taking some action when we come out of that closed session. Whether that happens or not, I do not know yet, but that would be the only action that would be taken in the rest of the meeting. When we come back out of closed session, it will be that one piece of action and then adjournment of the meeting will be the other things that happen. So if people decide to take off and go, we won't be offended that you didn't come back and see us. But if you got better things to do, we understand. So, and with that said, I need a motion to enter into closed session for the purpose of receiving attorney-client privileged information. Or I have a motion from Commissioner Ballard and support from Commissioner Evans to move into closed session for the purpose of receiving attorney-client privileged information. All those in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
We are in closed session.
John, I do need to do a roll call.
Oh, I'm sorry. Good point, Leslie. Go ahead.
Chairman Block,
Yes.
Vice Chair Ballard,
Yes.
Commissioner Heberling.
Yeah.
Commissioner Ehart
Yeah.
and Commissioner Moody.
All
And
right.
we're going in at 2:27.
Thank you, Leslie.
You're welcome.